Maya had always believed that midnight in a university campus belonged to ghosts, ghosts of upcoming exams, ghosts of assignments left unfinished, ghosts of dreams still waiting to be achieved. But that belief changed one night under the loud whisper of December winds. She was sitting in the silent corner of the campus library. A cup of cheap machine coffee on her left and her laptop glowing like a weak firefly on her right. The world outside was asleep, wrapped in blankets and comfort, while she was awake, drowning in study notes that seemed to multiply every minute. That's when she noticed him, Arham, the boy who walked into the library as if he was carrying the exhaustion of 1,000 unsaid words. Black hoodie, messy hair, headphones hanging around his neck like tired wings. He didn't look like he belonged in the noise of daylight. He looked like the night had made him for itself. Maya tried not to stare, but curiosity was a stubborn thing, especially at midnight when everything quiet feels like a secret. And Arham had secrets in his eyes, dark, gentle, and drowning in their own silence. Arham sat 2 tables away, opened his laptop, and pretended to study. But Maya could see he wasn't reading, his eyes weren't moving, his fingers weren't typing, he was just staring at the screen as if waiting for it to tell him how to breathe again. Minutes passed. The clock ticked like footsteps in an empty hallway. Finally, the silence broke not with words, but with a soft crash. Maya's pen fell from her hand and rolled across the floor, stopping right at Arham's feet. He picked it up, looked up at her, and smiled. A soft smile, like an apology for how beautiful it was. "Here," he whispered, his voice low as if he was scared of waking the books themselves. "Thanks," she said, her voice a little louder, trying to sound normal but failing miserably. Their eyes held a second too long. Something began. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just a spark that felt like the beginning of a promise. After that night, midnight in the library wasn't the same. They didn't exchange names immediately, they didn't try to know everything, they just kept bumping into each other, intentionally unintentional. Sometimes he brought an extra chocolate just to leave it near her as if the universe had planted it there. Sometimes she brought 2 coffees and casually placed one in front of him without looking directly into his eyes. They studied separately but felt together. Words weren't necessary when silence already understood everything. Maya noticed the way he looked at the stars outside the glass window like he was counting something he had lost. Arham noticed the way she tucked her hair behind her ear when nervous, like she was trying to hide the pieces of herself she didn't want anyone to break. And slowly, the library became theirs. The nights became theirs. Midnight became the hour when they existed, only for each other. It started with small conversations. What course are you in? What's your favorite music? Why do you look so tired? And suddenly the nights were filled with confessions. Real ones. Not the fake stories people tell to impress. Arham told her he was studying engineering but sometimes felt like his father was studying through him. He admitted that music was the only place he could breathe. Maya shared that she was the first girl in her family to go to university, and the weight of everyone's expectations lived on her shoulders like a permanent backpack. They talked about fears they had locked away for years. And as the clock ticked past 2 a.m. every night, they felt lighter, less alone. They laughed softly, shared snacks, exchanged glances that lasted longer than the jokes, and found home in each other's exhaustion. Midnight was no longer a time. It was a feeling. Arham started waiting for her. He would pretend to study but constantly stare at the library door, hoping she'd walk in wearing that same air of quiet determination and soft chaos. Maya started choosing her outfits more carefully, not in a way that looked obvious, but in a way that whispered she cared. They knew something was happening. Something that didn't need a name yet. One night, the library closed early. The guard asked them to leave, but neither wanted the moment to end. So they walked through the cold campus, breaths mixing with the fog, hands brushing accidentally, each touch louder than thunder. Maya shivered, trying to hide it. Arham noticed and silently removed his hoodie, placing it on her shoulders without asking. Her heart skipped a beat. "You'll be cold," she said. "Not as cold as you," he replied, his eyes smiling before his lips did. And that smile, God, Maya wished she could wrap her heart in it forever. They sat under the old tree behind the cafeteria, the one that looked like it had heard too many love stories but still wanted to listen to one more. Arham played a song on his phone, a song that felt like it knew exactly how lonely both of them had been before they found each other. Maya leaned back against the tree, staring at the stars while he stared at her. The wind whispered through leaves, like nature itself was trying to ship them together. "Why do you come here every night?" Maya asked, knowing there was a truth buried deep. Arham took a slow breath. "Because the day reminds me of everything I failed, but the night reminds me of everything that's still possible." Maya looked at him, her heart breaking in a way that felt like loving. "And what seems possible tonight?" she whispered. Arham didn't look away. Finals were coming. Deadlines were near. University life became a storm. But somehow, they were each other's calm. Sometimes they fell asleep on the library table, heads inches apart. Sometimes they shared headphones, one earbud each, listening to songs that told stories their lips were still afraid to speak. Yet feelings, no matter how soft, grow loud. Maya realized she liked sleeping late not because of exams, but because each night brought Arham closer. Arham realized he wasn't scared of the future when she was part of it. Everything inside them was screaming love, but fear stood guard, fear of losing something that wasn't officially theirs yet. They pretended everything was normal, but their eyes kept writing poetry their mouths couldn't pronounce. One night, after weeks of holding back, Maya didn't find Arham in the library. The table was empty. The chair was cold. Her heart panicked in ways she didn't expect. She checked the campus grounds, the cafeteria, the common room, nothing. The quiet of the night suddenly felt like a punishment. Finally, she saw him outside, sitting at the same old tree where their hands first learned each other's warmth. He looked lost in thought, headphones in, hood up, staring at his hands. Maya walked to him, breath unsteady. "You weren't there," she said softly. Arham looked up. His eyes were red like he had argued with his heart and lost. "I was scared," he confessed. "Scared that I'm just a distraction. Scared that I will ruin your future. Scared of what this is, what this could be." Maya sat beside him, closer than before. "You're not a distraction," she whispered. "You're the only part of my future that doesn't terrify me." The wind paused. Time paused. Even the stars leaned closer. Arham slowly took her hand, as if asking permission. She didn't pull away. Their fingers locked together like they had always belonged there. "Maya," he breathed, and everything inside her melted. "I like you. More than I know how to say. More than midnight can hold." Her heart exploded into fireworks the night had been waiting for. Tears glimmered in her eyes, but they were happy tears. "I like you too, Arham. So much that I'm afraid of morning." He smiled, a smile that carried hope, relief, and a promise all at once. He leaned closer, their foreheads touching like two stars finally colliding. No kiss yet, just a moment so intimate that even a kiss felt too small for what was happening. They didn't seal their love with sudden drama. They sealed it with a simple truth. Some loves are born when the world sleeps. And maybe their love wasn't ready for daylight yet. Maybe it didn't need to be. For now, midnight was enough, more than enough. Because in each other's eyes, they found stories they wanted to spend every tomorrow writing. Under the moonlight, wrapped in vulnerability and warmth, Maya and Arham decided that even if mornings brought challenges, nights would always bring them back home to each other. And as the clock struck 12:07 a.m., just like every night, their hearts whispered the same silent prayer. "Please let midnight last forever."